continue share on tonight's main topic. So for the next 40 to 45 minutes short sharing, I'm going to just focus on tonight's topic, which is the true water, all you need to know about water treatment. So why we focus on this? Of course, just now you know already, this one we have very great deal for the buy one free one. Okay, you buy one eSpring and then you free Morphe Richard, or you can also go for the trade-in program, which is also very good. Okay, for people who actually want to go for a better system. So what do you mean with better system? That is something that I'm going to share with you tonight. What is the differences of technology that we have in the market, and why you should actually consider upgrading yourself to eSpring. Or if let's say you are not using any system currently, then it's even more important for you to really look into eSpring system. Okay, so first of all, I think I just want to create some awareness whereby I think every one of us should know the water nowadays is no longer safe. So maybe many years ago during our grandparents' era, right? Probably they are still like relying on natural source. For example, they still go to take water from the well, or they go to take water from the natural source. Maybe nearby they have river or all that, and then they take the water and then probably they just boil it at home, and then they it's ready for drinking. But even so, back then, right, even though when the nature source is still clean and pristine, but still there's also some bacteria and also viruses, parasite, all that microorganism, and sometimes there might be contaminant also inside. Okay, so they are just relying on boiling. But nowadays, if you look around our living place, right, as per you can see also in this slide, okay, is so polluted. Okay, so I don't think nowadays we can still rely on the natural source. We are a developing country, which there is also a lot of waste being produced by the country on the daily basis. So we do not know when there will be a very serious pollutants being put into the water source. So there, I think from time to time, we also experience it, especially when Shabas or Air Selangor, they shut down the water source. Whenever they detect there's a very high rating of contaminant in our water reserve. Okay, but when they didn't turn it off, doesn't mean that it's safe. Just that probably the rating is lower, but still there's a lot of contaminant inside our water source. So that is first thing that we must know. Okay, so there's no more such thing that you can drink directly from the water pipe, or you can actually take from a river or whatsoever. So we need a solution. So secondly, I think another thing that we should be aware of is the piping system in Malaysia is already aging. Okay, so starting from our colonial era, Malaysia already start building all these main pipe along the road or underground. Okay, so can you imagine now from Merdeka until now, how many years already our country has been developing? So there's a lot of area actually they are still using very old piping. So as per the statistic, actually in Malaysia, our piping system, it can age up to 30 to 40 years old already, the one that we have underground, all those. So can you imagine those piping when it's so old, right? First is the condition inside definitely is very horrible. Second is already not strong also. So that's why you can see in this picture, sometimes it's due to landslide, but sometimes it's even due to the piping itself have cracked or broken. So whenever there is a crack or broken, right, it also open up the opportunity for contaminant and also pollutants to go into our water pipe. So doesn't matter how well the water treatment plant done by Air Selangor or Shabas whenever they do at the water plant, right? But when it's being distributed to different areas, it's all rely on all these very aged pipes that I mentioned. So when the pipe is already aged, it's very hard for us to ensure when the water reach our house is clean. So if let's say these are all the old piping that I mentioned, it has been rusted. This is from the outside. But can you imagine what is the look of the piping inside? Of course, it's very hard to imagine, right? But it could be look like this, right? But we never know because we cannot open up. But I think it's reasonable to say most of the piping inside it will look like this. Okay, if let's say it's already a very old pipe. Okay, and when it even when it comes near to us, right, also doesn't guarantee that our own housing, or if you are living in a high rise or even landed, doesn't guarantee that our own housing piping is in a good condition. So some of the old residential area or even old condo apartment, okay, the piping inside might look like this. Okay, so can you imagine every day the water flow through all this rusted and also full with pollutants water? When it reach your house, we just use boil, or you didn't use any water treatment system at home to treat it. So it's a very, very danger to consume this kind of water in the long run. Okay, a lot of illness and also sickness is because of our two most important things, water source and also our air. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about some of the method that is available in the market where people use it to treat their water. Okay, so I will start from the most common one and some of the other technology that they also you can find in other brand. Okay, so first one, of course, the most manual one, also the one that I say is inherited from our grandparents era, right? So the reason why we boil water last time is because, like I said, we know that even there's not much pollution back then, but still water source is full with microorganism, bacteria, virus, parasite, all those. Okay, but is it really that using boiling can actually get rid of all this? Last time we don't have choice, right? Because we don't have technology to help us to get rid. So boiling, I would say, probably is the only way back then. But now let us see what is the downside and also the disadvantage if let's say we are using boiling only. So first, of course, is efforts and also time consuming. So anyone who boil water before, they'll know that it's not immediately you can have a drinking water, because once the water is boiled and done boiling, it's a hot water. So you cannot drink directly, right? You need to wait until it's cooled down. So the people who is still using boiling method, they will understand very well. Normally they will boil a day before or boil long time before they need to drink. So they always need to store up the water. So the efforts and the time being used for this methods, right, is really consuming. Okay, so second point is that it's also more expensive in terms of electricity. So nowadays, this is actually the oldest way to so-called treat the water, but it doesn't really treat, which I will explain later. So this old way actually consumes the most electricity compared to other technology that we're going to share later on. So if I say today you want to save some money, or you want to go a more budget and safer way, definitely boiling will not be the way in current time. So third point is does not remove chemical. So this has been inherited from the past. So in the past, water source does not really have a lot of chemical. Okay, but I think in the past few decades, we start to have a lot of manufacturing. We start to have a lot of factory, a lot of pharmaceutical company, and also people who actually dump pollution inside the water source. So that actually increased the chemical content in our water already. So if let's say today we are still using boiling, it will not remove the chemical, and worse, it might actually change the chemical reaction of all this chemical content in our water. So number 4 is actually some of the example, the chemical things that you may encounter in the water is lead. Okay, you might have mercury, you might have pesticide, asbestos, those things all can be found in the water source. Okay, so even nowadays, they also find some drugs content inside the water source. Okay, this is because of the pharmaceutical companies that I mentioned just now have been developed nowadays. Okay, so number 5 does not remove the substance. So when you say does not remove substance, that means if let's say inside your water there's a sediment, there's a sand, there's a rock or anything, or if let's say there's a very small particle inside or dust inside, it will still remain inside. All these are considered like substance inside the water. But you might not be able to see from your bare eyes. You thought that it's still a clear water, and then you drink it into your body system. So this is very dangerous also, because it only boil the water, but it didn't help you to remove substance. Also, if let's say your water have smell, right? Smell is causing by a lot of the content inside the water. Sometimes, if let's say there's a contaminant, it might change the smell and also the taste of the water. So by boiling it, it also didn't get rid of all this odor and also the bad taste of the water. Okay. So next is actually encourage chemical reaction also. So by boiling, for example, just now I mentioned already, there's so much of chemical inside the water nowadays. Some chemical probably initially is still considered a stable chemical, but once it's being boiled, it actually make it become an active chemical. So when it's active chemical, it goes into our body, it might cause more damage. And a lot of chemical, when it's being heated up, it will become a carcinogenic agent. So when I say carcinogenic agent, is actually an agent that actually causing cancer. So a lot of people probably they are living very healthy lifestyle, but they didn't take care of the water that they drink on the daily basis. They might also end up having cancerous disease and so on. So of course, touch wood, we don't want that to happen to our family or that's right. So I think taking care of our water source is one important step to do. Okay. So just now I also mentioned already, there will be a residual of bacteria and also parasite, because nowadays scientists already find out there's so many bacteria and also parasite that will not be killed just by boiling the water. Okay, because water boiling point is actually 100 Celsius degree only. So 100 Celsius degree is not enough to kill a lot of the bacteria and also parasite in our environment. So I will give you a few examples. For example, this Clostridium. So Clostridium you might not heard of, but it's actually a very, very common bacteria, whereby it's a bacteria that cause food poisoning. So I'm not sure people who experience diarrhea or food poisoning before, you know that it's not something you want to experience every day. But imagine that if let's say this kind of bacteria exists in our drinking water, you might be ready. You might need to get ready to always experience this, and you thought that it's from the food outside, but it's actually from the water on your daily drinking water, right? So we also have some other more commonly known bacteria that you might heard of, for example, E. coli and also Salmonella. So these two is also bacteria that actually will cause a lot of illness to our body. It causes dizziness, numbness, okay, and also diarrhea and food poisoning is also one of some of the symptoms that they're caused by this bacteria. Okay, so it's no longer safe just to boil water, and more importantly, it didn't remove the substance that I mentioned just now. So of course, this should not be the way we purify our water. Okay, so if let's say you still don't get the idea of boiling water, of course, I can give you some examples. So if let's say today you are using this at home to boil the water or keep the water warm to get your hot water, this is some of the way that is using boiling. Okay, so this is even also have its disadvantage, because this kind of call it hot pot lah. This kind of boiling pot actually keep boiling the water inside, so that you are able to get the hot water the moment you need it. But reboiling the hot water is actually, like I said, it creates a lot of reaction on the substance that is inside the water. So if you keep reboiling, it will create a lot of opportunity for the carcinogenic agent. So you also might have experience using this and this also, right? So kettle is even more common also. If let's say you are using boiling method, of course you know, and definitely you will see this kind of sign before also if you are using boiling. So this is, if let's say you boil for a long time already, you can imagine inside, if let's say they are using some plastic material, you also notice, how come after a while use, then change color, and even the water that you drink, you will have a different taste. So have you ever think of this is actually the chemical reaction on the kettle and or on the container itself already happened, but you might slowly get used to it because you already think that this is something normal, but actually you are already consuming all this chemical content into our body on a long-term basis. For kettle, this is something very normal also. You will see the metal inside or the the rod inside become oxidized, or it has actually attract some of the chemical substance inside the water. So whenever you heat it up, all these chemical thing, it will actually stick to the rod. Okay, and when it's dry off, it becomes something like this. It crystallize, becomes something like this. So can you imagine you keep boiling every day also, and continue using it, and these are the things that we drink into our body. So also in the market, we have other brands of water treatment system, which also using boiling system. Okay, so if you notice some of the brand that will tell you, oh, you can actually have a hot water also. So that means they have a hot water tank inside their water treatment system. That's why you see normally those that can actually give you hot water is in a very bulky size. For example, you can see in the slide here. So this one also, they are reboiling the water inside the water tank. So you have the convenience to get the hot water immediately. But the problem is some of the point that I mentioned will also happen in this kind of water treatment system. So this is something that we need to think of. So next one is also RO water. RO water, I think nowadays is very common also, right? You will heard of RO water very often, because RO water is just like a shortcut way to give you clean water, okay? But probably it's too clean for our health. Why I say so? So first, let us go through some of the downside of using RO water. First, of course, is in terms of wastage, is the technology that wastes most of the water. If let's say your unit is using the RO technology, right, you'll waste 3 to 20 times more water. So imagine today, if you just want to drink 1 liter of water, you will waste 3 liters of water. Okay, so you will also notice it if let's say you are using a RO system at home, there will be another piping outlet to actually discharge this wasted water. There will definitely have this tube one. Okay, so second, it also remove, like I said, clean shortcut to clean the water until it clean up things that are supposed to stay in the water. For example, it also remove beneficial mineral in the water. So it's very important for us to have good mineral retained inside the water, because on the daily basis, we don't have a lot of chance to take in mineral. We have some mineral from fruits and vegetables, but unfortunately, fruits and vegetables is the things that we take less and less nowadays in the society. So if let's say even our drinking water now, we also remove the mineral that we're supposed to intake, then our body will be in big trouble. Okay, so some of the mineral that if you can't recall any, I'll give you some example. So for example, in our water source, normally we'll originally already have calcium, magnesium, potassium, and so on. So all these are considered good mineral that we should have in our body. So number 4 is actually RO water also will actually change the pH of the water to incline toward acidic. So when we have naturally have mineral inside, it actually help to regulate the pH of the water, slightly inclines toward alkaline. But then if let's say you have force remove all these things, it will cause the water to be inclines towards acidic. So number 5 is expensive to maintain. So why I say it's expensive to maintain, on the right hand side, you can see from the picture, normally RO system, there will be a lot of filter tube inside. So imagine you need to change all these filter one by one on the periodic basis. So it will be very costly for you to maintain this unit. So also it's normally a complex installation. So when I say complex installation, again, refer to the picture on the right hand side. Of course, not all the system is using this, but most of the RO water system, if you open up, you'll see something like this, a lot of tubing and a lot of connection. So if as a normal consumer, you will not know how to actually do the installation or do the change of the filter yourself one. Okay, you will need someone to help you to do that, which is from the professional, I mean the person that provide you the service. Okay, so slow water flow. So RO got another downside, which is actually whenever you use this system, the water flow is very slow one. Except if let's say your system is using the water tank system. But again, we know already, right? Water tank is not a favorable method to store the water so that you maintain the water flow. Because in the storage itself, when the water is being storing there without movement for a long time, you will also have some sediment and also the potential of the new pollutants going in, right? So that is the downside of it. So for RO side, if let's say you can't recall what is actually considered RO, here are some of the examples that you can actually look through. So of course, this is so common in the office buildings, right? Or some of the public area. You normally see this kind of water tank, and you can actually press and then water come out. So all this is actually RO water. Okay, that means you just drink to hydrate yourself, but then there's no mineral inside. And this kind of water actually help to draw out more mineral from your body, because when it's empty in the substance, in the mineral substance, it actually extract out mineral from your body. So it actually cause the condition to become worse. Or if let's say RO, like I said, normally many tube, this kind of system, or some of it you will see people put also in the public area like this. This is also using the RO system. And a lot of bottled water nowadays, they are also using the RO technology. Don't assume that all bottled water is mineral water. Of course, we generally call them mineral water, but it's not all mineral anymore. Okay, so sometimes if you go to the hypermarket, you just turn the label and look at it. Some is already using piping water, or some is already using RO water. So this is some. Okay, so also same, these two commonly seen unit is also using RO technology. So so if let's say you know all this thing is using RO, today we have more knowledge and more awareness whether we want to go for the RO kind of water treatment. So another one that we normally heard of is alkaline. So alkaline water, is it good or no good? Let us have a look. So the first point we want to share with everyone is actually alkaline water will definitely affect your stomach natural acidity. Do you know that our stomach is in the acidic condition all the time? So that is ready for us to digest our food and also help us to absorb our nutrition and also our food, right? So if let's say today we pandai and go drink alkaline water, it will actually affect our stomach natural acidity. And our body is very intelligent and clever. It will always adjust back the pH to wherever it's supposed to be. So for example, our blood have our own blood pH. Our stomach have its own environment pH. So if let's say you drink in something excessive to adjust the pH, right, it will give your body, in another word, you give your body more burden to always adjust back. So in the long term, it will cause this second problem that I want to share, which is the gastrointestinal distress. So if let's say long-term consuming alkaline, it gives your body system a very pressure and also stress condition that it have to keep counter back, okay, whatever that you input to your body. So number 3, health benefit not backed by science. So normally people who sell water treatment system using alkaline technology, they will tell you a lot of health benefits, or it's good for our body, or if let's say you eat too much acidic thing, you're supposed to drink alkaline water. Okay, so all this claim is not backed by science. Okay, there is no one single scientific paper that actually says it will benefit you. Okay, so number 4 is it does not remove contaminant. Another downside of it is actually it just make the water become alkaline, but it didn't remove the contaminant, which is the things that we're supposed to worry about. So if let's say the basic thing we haven't solved, we don't have to pandai go and change the water original pH. Okay, so does not also remove virus and bacteria, which is also one of our main concern. If let's say it didn't remove all these things, there's no point that it tell you after drink or got energy or whatsoever. Okay, so next is actually is also a very expensive system, because if let's say normally like alkaline water, they will need to have plate inside, or they need to have a modulator inside that actually will increase the mineral content in the water so that it increase the alkaline level. So normally it will be a quite expensive system. Okay, So this is just to share with you some of the lawsuit case that also already proven that the pH or the alkaline claim to input into our human body that will give health benefit has been proven no longer valid, because even in the court it has been already sentenced that the one of the famous which is the pH miracle, is a book author that keep promoting intake of alkaline food that will actually help you have a good health, has been sentenced to be giving this wrong information. So even from legal wise, we have so much of supporting saying that this alkaline is actually not helpful at all. Okay, so lastly, of course, we have also a very common kind of filtration in the market, which is you will also be very familiar. In the subsequent slide, I will show you some of the picture. You will know already what I'm referring to. So the carbon filter is the most basic way to actually filter the water, but there's also problem with carbon filter. Yeah. So first of all, we need to know that carbon filter actually give a short service life, especially if let's say it's not the activated carbon, or if let's say it's a very small block of carbon, normally it will be utilized or being used up very fast. So this is a short service life. So second is limited surface of filtration. Like I mentioned, if let's say on the right hand side, this kind of picture, very thin and very small tube of carbon filter, normally it has very limited surface of filtration. So when it have limited surface of filtration, very fast also, you already use up, because nowadays the water is so dirty, right? So another problem arising from there is that we does not know when to change. So once this filter has been used up, we don't know when to change. Okay, because you don't know how to look at the surface also. You don't know when it's already time to change. Okay, so there are certain people who actually using this technology only. They use it for years or for decades, or since their parents use until now, they also continue using, but they never changed the filter before. So this is the downside of it. So number 4 is not effective on virus and also bacteria. So for carbon filter is definitely not effective on the virus and bacteria, because bacteria and virus, the micron is very small, right? So if let's say you don't find a way to actually get rid of this, it's actually not helpful. So next is different standard of production. So in the market, it's not that today you see this carbon filter is the same as the other carbon filter. The problem with carbon filter is that it's very easy to be produced by OEM or by any manufacturer if let's say they want to introduce this product. Okay, but the standard is definitely different. Okay, some is just giving you a very small block, some don't even break down into activated carbon and then rebuild it into the block size. Okay, so different kind of standard in the market. So probably you see, hey, how come this one few thousand? How come this one is just few hundred ringgit, or even less than 100 ringgit you can get? All this is different kind of manufacturing practice, and also different kind of quality of carbon filter that we have in the market. Okay. So some of the common one you can see is, for example, this one normally is in a very small size, in the tube size. So when you want to change the carbon filter, it's just one small block of carbon inside. So you might also seen this before. This one inside sometimes is one tube is the carbon, another tube probably they put ceramic or a bigger particle filtration. And then some of other brand, they might use something like this. So it's normally installed underneath your kitchen top. So one tube like that, and it's carbon also inside. Okay, so many types, but then of course, like I said, if let's say it's not standardized, you do not know the performance of it. You do not know how effective is it. And all these examples that I show here, there's no any marker or any monitoring system to tell you when to change. You just continue using it even though it no longer perform, right? So you just like psychology telling ourselves that, oh, I have a filter, but whether it does the work, we don't know. Okay, so as a summary here, you can see just now we have compared a few methods: boiling, RO, alkaline, carbon, or UV, right? So you can see there's no perfect method or technology that can actually remove effectively everything that we want. And at the same time, mineral, you can see Some it might retain, but some, the so-called safest one, it actually remove. And in terms of water wastage, electricity and water wastage happen also for some of the method, and others, that means some of the chemical reaction that we need to concern of, and then we might have clogging issue. Okay, some of the false claim on alkaline, and of course carbon, we don't able to remove virus. Some of the chemical also cannot remove. Okay, so how to actually find the best way to help us solve this water issue is actually we need to find a product which is eSpring that we're going to share tonight. So as you can see here, eSpring is not just something new to the market. It's already have 20 years of experience and also R&D in the market. And the reason why it can stay so prominent and also so reputable in the market is because it's one of the best in the market. So in Asia Pacific itself, eSpring is become the top selling brand with more than 6.2 million of units sold, okay, in 48 countries and territories. So this is only Asia Pacific, it's not globally. Okay, Asia Pacific already more than 6.2 million units sold. And even the design of our unit, you can see on the left hand side, is very nice also, right, to put in our kitchen. So just briefly go through the build out and also the specification of our eSpring with you. So when our eSpring is opened out, you can see the straw. When it's open, the cover, inside you have this monitoring system. The green color one is actually the monitoring system, which has the electronic and also the chip inside. And then it comes with the lock, okay, a round lock to lock up our cartridge, which is the one followed by is our coupling. Okay, so this black cap is the one that actually connecting to the cartridge. So the cartridge, you can see inside is combining two technology. So just now we know already, carbon, it might not be standardized and it might not be performing as good as what we have in RO. But then if let's say it's an activated carbon, especially for eSpring, we are using the activated carbon, and at the same time, the remaining that cannot be done by carbon, which is virus and bacteria, will be assisted by our patented UV light also. Yeah, so you can see on the right hand side in detail. First of all, this system help you to have the monitoring system that you don't have to worry of. So when I say you don't have to worry, that means when to change, and if let's say there's any issue in the system, it will be indicating to you as a user. So you don't have to worry, whether my filter is still performing or not, whether it's still effective or not, whether the water that come out is still clean or not. You don't have to worry, okay, because the system and the chip will actually tell you. And then secondly, the connecting part of our cartridge and also our chip, right? Do you notice there's no wiring? Okay, so on the left hand side, the opening of these products, right, is exactly as per the actual unit. There's no wiring at all inside. So this is also one of the technology that we have for eSpring, which is patented. Okay, so this wireless power is called eCouple wireless power technology. So this is the technology that actually helps to transmit the electricity into our UV lamp. Why Amway invent this and actually make this technology happen is because whenever electricity come across, if let's say you have wiring, it come across with water, it's very dangerous, right? So whenever there's any breakage or what, then it will cause short circuit, all those. So without all this, right, with the wireless power technology, it's very safe for you to consume, and at the same time, the system will help you to ensure the UV lamp is on lit every time the water pass through it. So there's also a smart chip inside. So the LED display using the simple icon and the audio cue to tell you whether the system is functioning properly. So if let's say the system is not functioning properly, or if let's say installed improperly, then it will have a beeping to tell you the unit has some issue. So at least you know something to check, right? The system also help us to monitor the lifespan of the cartridge. That means you are guaranteed at least once a year or 5,000 liter, whichever comes first. So this is actually a even better system based on your usage. It's not like a lot of other product in the market. you don't know when to change. But whenever the agent comes, it's time to change. But is that really the way to change the filter? Because let's say you are overseas for this 3 months and then they suddenly come and change for you also, it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, because you never use why should I change the filter, right? Okay, and then when it comes to the lower part of it, you will have this whole block of the cartridge, which inside got 2 main technology, which is also patented. Okay, so first is our advanced carbon block filter. So like I mentioned, not all carbon filter in the market is the same carbon filter, but for at least for eSpring, we are using a patented activated carbon block. Okay, so this is a very high quality coconut shell based activated carbon, and is effective for contaminant up to 0.2 microns. So we dare to mention how many microns we can perform up to is because our product always undergo the lab test and also lab performance testing. Okay, so we know how well the product can perform, and of course we know that some of the bacteria and viruses will still pass through. So that is the reason why we have this UV lamp patented. It's also patented technology whereby the eSpring use this UV lamp that instantly light up whenever there's a water pass through. Then it will actually help us to take care the 99.99% of the waterborne disease, bacteria and also viruses. Okay, so on top of the technology that we have just now, I think it's also important for us to know this technology is well recognized by international standard. So one of the most prominent and also reputable international standard is the NSF. So NSF is the one that independently certified a lot of home appliance, home technology across the world for all kind of brands. Okay, so if you know about NSF standard, you'll know how well our unit actually perform, because our unit is the only one that have 6 NSF standard and also protocol in Malaysia market, the most NSF certification water treatment system. Okay, so the first NSF you can see is standard 42. Our unit have this NSF, which means it gives the aesthetic effect. What does it mean with aesthetic effect is the system has been tested to able reduce the drinking water contaminant, and that will actually affect the taste, the odor, and also the clarity. So if you remember just now, I mentioned about the boiling one. The boiling didn't remove the substance, right? That's why you will if you just boil water, it definitely not qualify for standard 42, because there's still a lot of substance and also contaminant inside that will affect the taste of the water. So for people who install eSpring, normally you consume it for a while and then you go to the kopitiam or you go to the restaurant outside. When you drink the water, you feel the chlorine, you feel the contaminant inside, you will immediately feel it. So that's the difference between people who consume eSpring water and also you consume boiling water or other system. Okay, so second is we have standard 53, which is the health effect. So it's actually test our system for their ability to reduce a wide range of contaminant, including leads, asbestos, VOC, volatile organic compound, and also pesticide that I mentioned just now. Of course, not only limited to this, it can up to 140 difference of pollutants removed by our eSpring system. Okay, so standard 55 is actually focusing on our patented technology, which is the UV microbiology water treatment system. So we qualify for this 53 because we have that technology in our unit. So it's using the UV light to remove to deactivate or remove the microbial control. So there's actually very few systems that meet this standard 55. So next, we want to mention about some of the protocol that we entitled for also. So for standards 401 is for the emerging compound, 15 types of emerging compound. So we are actually the first system in the world being recognized by this standard 401. Why this 401 is important is because a lot of the other system in the market, they no longer tested for new emerging pollutant in the environment. So for example, when we say new emerging pollutant, for example, in the past, the plastic industry is not that prominent, but nowadays there's a lot of plastic manufacturer, and then water source suddenly have a lot of new emerging pollutants, right? So our unit also has been tested can effectively remove all these 15 identified new common pollutants that we found in the water. So including pharmaceutical, over-the-counter medication, herbicides, pesticide, and chemical like BPA. Okay, so there's we are really proud because eSpring is actually the first system recognized for this. And then of course followed by NSF protocol P473. So this P473 is mainly targeted for the pollutants like PFOA and also PFOS. So these two is also relating to plastic industry. So these two contaminant is actually the main culprit is the plastic industry lah. So things that we use using plastic, the factory after manufacture, probably they put the waste into the water. So that's why nowadays there's so much of this waste inside our water source. So lastly is our protocol for P477, which is for the microcystin. So microcystin is a form of microorganism, a type of algae that actually emits toxin into the water. Okay, it's a blue-green algae. So is it important for us? It's very important for us also because in Malaysia, we already identify this microcystin existent in a lot of our water reservoir. So some of the one that come into news, including the one in the Johor, we have the water reservoir there also identify in the water source, they have this kind of toxin. So if let's say today you install eSpring at home, you don't even have to bother all this news, right? You don't have to really worry, hey, wow, our reservoir got this toxin, our reservoir got this pollutant. Should I worry whether my house unit can still perform the same? So if let's say today you install a water treatment system that do not have all this standard, then you need to start worrying because they do not give you that assurance that it can be effective on all these things. So that's the importance of having NSF standard. And of course, NSF standard is just one of the third-party certification. For our eSpring, we have more than that third-party certification. So I will just share with you briefly. So just now we went through together already. It's the only system that have 6 NSF standard and protocol certified. And then we also 17 year already. This is updated latest because 2022, we are also voted as the most trusted brand in the Reader Digest. So can you imagine 17 years consecutively, we win this award as a trusted brand. So I think you win 1 year, you're being awarded for 1 year, maybe it's something very great already. But can you imagine 17 years continuously winning this award? And worth mentioning is that this award is actually voted by user. It's not based on the Reader Digest judges or what. Okay, it's voted by the user and also voted by the consumer. So that means we are still so reputable and recognized by all the users in the market, right? So number 3, we are actually there's a typo there. This is Gold Seal. Okay, that means it's a Gold Seal certified by Water Quality Association. So a lot of the water treatment system out there, they are certified by WQA, but they not necessarily is getting the Gold Seal. In order to qualify for Gold Seal, you need to be able to remove a lot of the criteria, which is a lot of the pollutants. If let's say you will not be able to meet any, you are probably just recognized by WQA, but not Gold Seal. So for our unit is Gold Seal certified by WQA. Okay, and then lastly, also, if you heard of Frost and Sullivan before, it's actually a higher standard in terms of manufacturing. So you can see Amway has been awarded again by the Frost Sullivan as the Water Treatment Competitive Strategy Leadership Award. Okay, this one also continue for 12 years already. So I think we have been always keeping our standard and also quality there. So that is also the reason why we've been winning and also getting all this reward continuously. Okay. And then now we talk about the cost of this eSpring. So we all know that the eSpring itself is 3,400, and of course this month we have very great promotion, which I will share later on. But then the maintenance itself and even the unit itself is so economic. If we calculate properly, right, after the installation of this eSpring and subsequently subsequent year, whenever you change the cartridge, all that calculated per liter of cost is actually just 14 cents. Okay, if today you know how to actually leverage on the APC account and get 10% and so on, is even lower, can up to just 10 cents per liter. So can you imagine just 10 cents for 1 liter of water is impossible for you to get in the markets, right? Because in the market, probably a bottled water per liter, 1 ringgit and 30 cents, probably also very hard to get already. This is some old data, but now with inflation, all that is even higher, right? So for 5 gallon of bottled water, you can get cheaper, but it's still at the 50 over cents, right, per liter. So you can imagine how much you can save if, let's say, today we are using eSpring water. So if, let's say, today you're already using eSpring water and you notice that your neighbor, or whenever you go out, you saw people carrying big 5-liter water, buying cartons of bottled water, you can actually take that opportunity to share with them. Okay, share them how they can actually save money using a good water treatment system at home. So they don't have to every day carry 5-liter water, store it at home and drink like that. Okay. So this month we have a great promotion, like I mentioned just now. This Morphe Richard is selling at 640 ringgit. But this month, if you get the eSpring, you get this whole unit for free. Okay, so this Morphe Richard can actually help us to get instant boiled water. Okay, without water storage. I mean, it's not using the concept like I mentioned just now. Some of the brand in the market, they are actually using a water tank, keep reboiling the water inside. But this is actually using an instant boiling technology. That means if, let's say, when you don't need hot water, the water will just remain there as a normal temperature water. Only when you need the hot water, you press the button, in just a matter of few seconds, it will actually come out the hot water that you need. So there's also 3 different temperature for you to adjust to, whether you are boiling for different purpose, for example, for tea, coffee, or for baby milk and so on. Okay, so this is a perfect combination, because to me, the most important first thing we need to ensure the water that come into our house is being treated well and is become clean and safe to drink. So that will be done by our eSpring. So once you have that clean and true water, then only you decide if you want to have hot water, then you should boil using that clean and safe water from eSpring, right? So you can actually fill up the Morphe Richard tank using our eSpring water, and then the boiled water that come out from there is definitely clean and safe as well. So there is actually a more proper way for us to do water treatment as compared to some of the other product in the market that actually don't do a proper purification process, but still they offer you hot water. But what's the point if, let's say, you are unsure whether water is already clean or whether it's retaining the good mineral in the water, then only you produce the hot water, right? So I think the sequence of priority has to be done well there lah. Okay, so here I also want to take this opportunity to share some interesting video with you. So on the left hand side is to show you some of the area that have very polluted water. The water come out from the pipe itself is already very dirty. Okay, maybe it's due to mud, due to rusted piping and so on. But maybe at your home it's not as this dirty, but you have to imagine, okay, even when it's looking clear, the water inside probably have a lot of substance and also contaminant already. But this video is so good that it shows us visually, like at least visually you know when it's dirty and then when it's treated. So this person will actually twist the diverter of our water treatment system. So when it turns to the treated water, it comes out the water so clear, so and clean. When it turns to the diverter to direct water from the pipe, you can see it's so muddy. So let's see the video together. So this, I think, also is something that we always will encounter, especially whenever there's water disruption in Selangor area or any area around Malaysia. And when the water supplies come back, right, you will see that the water is very dirty one. Why? Because you imagine your pipe system is like what I showed you just now. Inside so rusted and so many sediment and also mud inside. So whenever the water stop flowing for a while, all these things will concentrated again. And then whenever the water supply back on to your pipe, when you open the source, it will become very obvious. Wow, so muddy. Then you let it flow for a while and then it become clear back. You thought it's okay already. But actually all this while, your water will have all these things. So I think this video is just give us have a better picture. So on the right hand side is actually how a Morphe reject can perform to give you that hot water instantly. Convenient it is. So after you just do the setting, what temperature you need, and then you press start, you actually come out with a 2 cup. You can go for the 2 cup or you go for 1 cup also can. You put at the center so it can fill up the hot water for you. All right. So this month with this promotion, okay, we all know that our eSpring is actually cost us 3,400, right? And then the PV is 900 PV. So if you can recall, last month I share you all about the 1000 PV and how to actually achieve this 1000 PV. I think this month is the best month for you to break through your first 1000 PV. If let's say you have not achieved the 1000 PV yet, because this one is like a shortcut for you to achieve this 1000 PV easily, because just by purchasing the eSpring together with the promotion, you are already 900 PV. So 900 PV to 1000 is just another 100 PV difference, right? So 100 PV different, 400 ringgit, you can buy your house, your household stuff, or you do some customer selling, you already 1000 PV. And you might even have more time to share the same good item to your friend. So if imagine you share this promotion to 3 friends, already 3000 PV there, including yourself, already 4000 PV. Okay, so this is how easy. If let's say this month we really take this opportunity to share water treatment system with people around us, then you can easily break through your first 6% or even your 9% and so on. Okay, so but then the concept still applies here. So the 3 points that I shared last week, 2 weeks ago, is first, you must first self-use. So in order for you to promote and also better share on our home technology, is that you have to be the first user of our eSpring. So once you use the eSpring, you know why it's important, or when you attend my sharing like this, at least you have additional information, how to share eSpring, and then on top of that, you add in your own experience using the product. It's really easy to use. After you use, you really don't no longer taste the chlorine taste, all that. So when you share with your friend, and if let's say they intend to install as well, then you can already start building your customer base, right? So imagine if let's say you have start building customer base using the eSpring product. Okay, every year they will have to change the filter also. So that changing your filter also give you a very strong foundation on your PV. So slowly, it's no longer 1000 PV. You will build a very strong foundation PV whereby every month you have customer will change filter, and then they might also introduce people to use our eSpring. So I think this month is really, really great opportunity for us to break through this 1000 PV that I mentioned. So even though you already have this eSpring, you can still do more. Okay, you don't have to like just limit yourself to 1000 PV. If you already using the product, or you already using the eSpring for a long time, then you can actually target how to build your 1000 PV using sharing, right? Okay, this month is just a great opportunity for us to share. Anyone still don't have water treatment at home, and then they can actually try out by using trade-in or using this Morphe Richard promotion. Okay, so this again, last but not least, I just want to remind everyone, we have last 10 days, actually less than 10 days. This month we have 31 days. So now we left with only 8 days, okay, to share this great promotion to people around us. And also important for us to remind them, next year, there will be a price adjustment on our home tech product in March. So this, I will assume this is the last opportunity that Amway will have this kind of great promotion, because normally subsequent month, it will not have another eSpring promotion. That's the trend of our promotion. But if let's say there is, then great. But we cannot assume there is because normally they will not have consecutive month having the same promotion for home tech. So if let's say we might not have it in the November or December, then like I said, this is already the last opportunity for us to get this great product at this existing price, because next year onwards it will be a higher price already, and you will not get free